I'm a 3D artist and ChatGPT is getting better and better, and this left me with a thought. What happens if it gets so good I get replaced? This is why I have a challenge for today. I have 3 ideas. First, I'll ask ChatGPT to make me a grass scene where I'll only paste whatever it comes up with. That comes with a problem though, as you'll see later. Then I'll ask it how I could make a nice grass scene in Blender, but I can only follow its instructions, so if it comes up with something very weird, I have to do what it says. Finally, I will come up with my own scene, and then we can see if ChatGPT is taking over soon. Alright, for step 1, there's a major limitation. ChatGPT doesn't directly have access to the scene, so it'll have to figure out a way to make a cool grass landscape by using Python, and I will help it along by pasting the code into Blender. After I asked it nicely not to take over the world, it gave me a Python script I could use. I put it into Blender to see what it had made, and I was honestly pretty surprised. It's not good and it's very simple, but it even colored the grass in the viewport and gave me a sun lamp as well. To give it a fighting chance, I set the render engine to cycles and repositioned the camera so it could look as good as possible. And honestly, I'm pretty sure it can only get better at this point. Alright, now ChatGPT is going to give me a step-by-step guide, and I cannot come up with my own ideas, I just have to follow this no matter what. For this, I chose to go the old-fashioned way and make a hair particle system, because I still have to get comfortable with geometry nodes. If you aren't using Blender, not much exciting is going on right here, so I'll make sure to go very briefly over it. I followed ChatGPT's instructions, but I was still limited because it didn't specify that I could use any cool image textures or something like that, so I was stuck with literal hairs on a flat plane. Right here, I'm setting up the camera and making the hills bigger, and then I'm gonna start working on the textures. Since ChatGPT said I was allowed to add a procedural texture, I'm adding a noise texture to control the color variation of the grass. Then I'm using a color ramp and choosing 2 colors, which will help me get a smooth transition between the 2 colors. ChatGPT asked me to add translucency to the grass, which should help make the grass feel more realistic because grass is not blocking all light from passing through it in real life. The next step was to add an HDRI, and this was the moment I figured out that I messed up because it changed the grass completely, so I had to go and readjust it, but once that was done, this was the finished result. It's not great, but I will give it a solid 4 out of 10. For the last part, I wanted to get some really good looking grass, so I took this photo of some grass, added the plane and extruded it along the image so it lined up as good as possible. Unfortunately, I forgot to record a lot of stuff and I don't have time to redo it because I have exams all month, but I made a material for the grass blade, duplicated it a lot of times, and changed the way it bent so I could essentially have some grass clumps. Then I duplicated the grass clumps, added them together into a collection, and made a particle system where I scattered the grass clumps as a collection. If you want a more detailed tutorial, I will make sure to make it as soon as I get more time, but I am a bit pressured right now. I set up the camera and adjusted the depth of field. This time there were no limitations and I could do what I wanted instead of relying on instructions, so I got a lot more freedom. It should come as no surprise, but I really don't like the version ChatGPT gave me when I asked it to make a grass scene for me. It was pretty impressive that it did this with only Python though. 2 out of 10. I would like to start this one out by saying I'm pretty impressed it could make a coherent tutorial, even though I had to make some small adjustments to make sure it could work out. 4 out of 10. The last grass landscape was definitely the most fun one to make. Maybe it was because I had more freedom. Either way, I had a lot of fun making this, and I hope it was fun watching it too. Let me know what you want to see next. Thanks for watching.